Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the vlog, episode 41. In this episode, things start out pretty regular. It's a regular session of 1-2 at Orange City. Then about an hour and a half in, something happens with the dealer, and things just completely fall off the rails. If you enjoy, like and subscribe. Let's get to it. Strap in, folks. The very first hand we're dealt, there's a button straddle. We're in the cutoff, and we look down at pocket sevens. There's a call from the small blind before it folds all the way around to the low jack, who bumps it up to $25. With the action on me, I decided to go ahead and call. I know I'm not getting a great price, but I'm thinking if I call, I might be able to bring in some of the other players that are left, and I can actually get a good return on my investment. However, everybody folds, so we're off to a flop heads up. The flop is Jack Queen 4 Rainbow, so not a good flop here. It checks to me, and I ask my opponent how much he has left, and I'll let you listen in.
What is that, 40?
I've never been there. I've never been to very,
I think they tore down the old one, though.
So as you can see, he called before I actually even officially made a bet, but whatever, it's not a lot of money. Let's see a run out. The turn is a 5 of spades, and the river is a 4 of diamonds, so if somehow I'm ahead, probably the best run out I could have asked for. I show my hand, and he says I'm good, and he shows ace king off, and we're going to win this first one. We're in +1 this time when we look down at 10 jack offsuit. It folds to me, and I don't really know how I feel about 10 jack. I see all the vloggers play it, all the pros will open with it. I don't really care for the hand that much, but I guess maybe I'm being a little bit nitty. I opened to $12. We see a call from +2, and Jason, a very competent player on the button, also calls. We're off to a flop 3 ways. The flop is King Queen 4 with 2 diamonds, so I flop myself all sorts of draws here. It checks over to Jason on the button, who bets $20. Both myself and +2 make the call, so we're still 3 ways to a turn. The turn is the ace of clubs, the absolute gin card. I decide to go ahead and check, wanting one of my opponents to bet, and +2 obliges as he bets all in for $54 total. I think I make a mistake here, and I grab some chips to shuffle, and I think that he thinks I was counting out the call, and he ends up folding. I, however, make the call. The river is a 4 of clubs. I go ahead and show my hand. My opponent mucks, and we win again. It is our turn to straddle on the button, and we look down at ace 6 of spades. It folds all the way around to the cutoff, who makes the call, and I decide to go ahead and just check. I remember once in a Brad Owen vlog, he had ace 6 suited, and he mentioned how he didn't feel it was really worth a raise because it was such a small pot, and he was really only drawing to the flush, as he would need a 4-liner for a straight, and has a weak ace that he didn't think would hold up. So he didn't like the fact that he put money into the pot on that hand, so I decided to go ahead and just check and see the flop. The flop is King Jack Deuce with 2 spades, so not terrible here. My opponent checks it over to me, and I put out a bet of $10. My opponent then check raises me to $35. I go ahead and call one time. We're off to the turn heads up. The turn is a 9 of hearts, so doesn't really improve me at all. This time my opponent leads out for $60. It's $60 to win about 145, so I'm not necessarily getting a great price. And if I spike an ace, there's no guarantee it's good here, so I end up making the fold. We're straddling from the button once again, and we look down at 7-4 of spades. We see a call from the small blind, and it folds to +1, who also makes the call. Then it folds to the cutoff, who calls as well. I can't only squeeze with my strong hand, so I squeeze to $25 here. The small blind calls pretty quickly, as does +1. The cutoff folds. We're off to a flop 3 ways. The flop is 6-6 king with 2 hearts. The small blind then leads out for $25. Then +1 makes the call. I don't think there's much I can do here since I only have backdoor straight and flush draws, so I end up making the fold, but we'll see the rest of the hand. The turn is a jack of spades. That's a bummer. Even more, the action checks through. They'll see a free river. The river is an 8 of clubs, and on this card, the small blind bets out for $50 and +1 fold. So being results oriented, I'm happy with my fold, but when seeing the jack of spades, I just thought, should I maybe have fired off one time? We're straddling from the button again. This time we look down at ace 5 offsuit. We see calls from the small blind and +1. The action folds to me, and I bump it up to $20. Both players make the call, so we'll go off to a flop 3 ways in position. The flop is 6-7 jack, so I've whiffed here, but it checks over to me, so I decide to go ahead and bet out $35. Looking back, I think it's a bad size. I'm giving somebody on any kind of draw almost 3-1 to continue, so I probably should have sized up a little bit. However, they both fold, and I win. We're in the hijack this time, and we look down at ace-king offsuit. It folds all the way around to me, and I open for $12. The cutoff, who has to have a VPIP of 100%, makes the call, so we're off to a flop, heads up. The flop is queen, queen, 10, so I flop myself a gut shot. I haven't paired my cards, but it's not a terrible flop for my hand. I c-bet for $25 here, and my opponent min clicks it to $50. I decide to go ahead and call and peel one off. We'll see a turn, heads up. The turn is the ace of diamonds, so now I've turned 2 pair. I check, and my opponent bets out for $50. I'm not necessarily thrilled by this, but I'm getting almost 3.5 to 1 to make a call, so I go ahead and call off here. We're off to the river. The river is a 7 of diamonds. It brings in the backdoor flush. I check, and the cutoff bets $75. I think the hand is played pretty straight up. This guy either has a queen or it's total air. Again, he's got a VPIP of 100%, and he has shown down some very weak hands, and I feel he could be doing this with a weak ace, or a hand like Jack 9 or Jack 10 that missed and can't win at showdown. So, after some thought, I end up making the call. My opponent rolls over queen 7 for the boat. Looking back, I think against any other player, I could have gotten away on any of the streets, but with this guy's VPIP being so high, I just had to call this one off and see. We see a big hand develop on an ace 5-9 board where 3 players get it all in, and it's set over set over set. The turn is a 5, giving Jason quads. He takes this hand down. Never seen set over set over set. Once again, we're straddling from the button, and we look down at queen 10 offsuit. We see calls from the small blind, +1 and +2. The small blind says he called blind, and the tape shows he did, so I decided to go ahead and just check and mix it up with him. The flop is Jack King Deuce with 2 hearts. +1 bets out for $10, and +2 makes the call. Now, while all this is going on, the dealer has apparently knocked a chip off the table, and he's absolutely distracted. I understand, dealers have to keep track of all the money, but he's not paying attention to anything that's happening. And so I make a mistake, and while he's not looking, I raise to $40. The small blind folds, and once the dealer gets his head back on straight, he just peels off the turn, which is a 6 of diamonds.
Take a brush on 33. No, there's 5.
Did they call? They both call?
Oh, shit, no.
Oh, how much did you bet?
They bet 10, and I made it 40.
I'm sorry. I was looking for the yellow chip.
Well, at least you
There's
get
a
a
yellow
free
chip
peek
on
at
the
the
floor
turn.
Thank you.
Back to me.
After a lot of confusion, eventually +1 makes the call and +2 folds her hand. So this closes the post-flop action. But the dealer then puts out the river.
Oh.
So that's 2 cards in a row that he's dealt out early.
Or we saw on flop action.
You're right.
He's already seen it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's going away.
I
It's
saw
going
it.
All right, thank you.
Could it have went in the bin?
No, it's we're good. Don't worry about it. Floor 33, please.
Right, yellow.
Could have went in that hole right there where the coins going?
Floor on 33, please.
What did he do?
2 streets of
Turn?
information?
Is that what happened?
Yeah, when
I
did the
raised
turn, he
post
didn't
flop.
call you.
And then he's seen this card, so this card now has to be voted.
Okay, I didn't know you
We're
bet
still
before
technically
the
on
turn.
the turn betting.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
waiting for you
You
to
guys
act on
already
the
called.
turn.
You gotta show him the card you're burying, because he's seen it.
He'll see it. Yeah, I inadvertently did the river before the pattern.
Okay,
but hold
let's
on.
finish the action on the flop.
It's
on
that's
the
already
turn.
done.
All right, go
It's
ahead and
already
shuffle it back in.
Hold it.
Hold on.
It's not done on the
We
turn, though.
we had the turn exposed before it was time, and then the river. We've had 2 cards exposed out of turn.
So we went.
But the
So
action was complete on
the
the
turn
turn.
is premature as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Post flop, there was a $10 bet, $10 call. I
he
raised to
raised.
40. We lost a chip off the
Whatever, I
table.
dropped the chip. And I
He just turned over the turn.
You went turn river.
And then once he called my $40 raise,
On the
he
flop.
put another card down. He put the river down when we're technically on the turn. So we've exposed 2 cards prematurely.
He's
All right, so the flop action is complete, right?
The flop is.
No.
All right, so the
Yeah,
Let's
that
call
one.
call.
so the natural river card does become the turn. So that's the natural river card.
So
Put
this
that
card's
there.
going away now?
This is the natural river card. All
really
right,
missed
that
out.
becomes
That's right.
that becomes the turn. Let's have action on the turn.
Oh, that stinks because that changed my hand and I folded.
You don't have a hand.
I folded.
Yeah,
on his,
so you don't have a hand.
I,
Action's here.
But he's saying
it's
she
basically
folded
here.
it. Now you're changing the way the cards
exactly.
We're not
Thank
betting
you.
on-
You folded it.
Yeah,
and you
you're
changed
betting on the turn
card.
now.
Hey, let me ask you something. You just want to check it down?
Turn should have never
All right, check.
Yeah, that's mine.
Because I'm confused. I didn't know. I thought I was calling your turn
Do I have
call.
to shuffle this in even though I'm checking it down?
See, this is what I'm saying. So really, both of these cards are premature at the same time.
Correct.
You went turn, river.
Yes.
Well, he
Nothing in
went
between.
turn, and then I called, and then she
But he had
folded,
raised.
but I thought that he had bet on the turn, not the flop.
Here's what we're gonna
So
do.
he
We're gonna
bet on the
shuffle.
flop.
We're gonna shuffle this.
Yeah, leave the 6 out here because that's what we all bet
We're gonna
on.
shuffle this.
No, this technically wasn't bet on.
And this
He
burn
bet
card.
the
Yeah,
flop.
I
I
folded
thought
on
he
the
was
6.
bet. I
All
thought
right,
he was
look,
betting
listen.
on the
Here's
six.
what we're doing.
I
Shuffle those three
folded on the
cards in.
6.
Shuffle those three cards in.
He bet on the 6 and I folded on the 6.
No, he
Yes.
raised the flop.
Yeah, but
It doesn't
when you
matter. I
put
don't
that
care
turn
what
out, he
it
bet
is.
on the
6
6.
is what
But when
was
you-
exposed
I bet the
out
flop.
here.
You bet on the
And I bet the flop, and I thought you were raising on the flop.
I
I
did.
was
Do
correct.
All right,
you
straight to the
understand?
turn.
Do you,
Straight to the turn.
hey, do you understand what
The ruling is absolute garbage to me, so +1 and I agree to just check it down. We see a turn in river, and +1 has 2 pair. I'm just absolutely tilted after this. I'm honestly baffled that a dealer would make a mistake twice in one hand, and I'm just not happy with the ruling. Now, I did speak to the floor manager who made the call, and he explained to me their process and that they never want the answer to be just chop up the money. So I get it, but I disagree with it, especially when 2 mistakes are made in the hand. Knowing my decision making is shot here, I pack it up and call it a day. I literally cannot think of a more tilting way to end a session. What a bummer. I can't believe that even happened. I mean, look, I understand mistakes happen. You're going to make mistakes every once in a while, but the dealer made 2 mistakes in a row, the same mistake in a row. And then I don't agree with the ruling that after the hand's been compromised that much, that you just shuffle the cards back in the deck and replay the turn and river. I thought it was a bullshit ruling, but I could just feel it absolutely tilted me. And I wasn't gonna be able to concentrate or play well after that. So I'm actually proud of myself for making the decision to get up and walk out. In the game for 300, out for 180. If you enjoy, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more poker content. And you can follow me on Instagram at 7cardflushpoker.